Hi, welcome to the Advanced Java tutorial. In the previous video, I have discussed about the installation of the JDK as well as the Eclipse. So, in this video, we'll talk about the introduction for the Java programming as well as the OOPS concepts, that is object-oriented concepts in the Java. So, coming to the history for the Java programming, which was developed by the Sun Microsystems. So, we'll call the James Gosling as a father of Java. So the previously it was named as Oak, which was registered by another company. That's why they have changed the name from Oak to the Java. So if you want to know more about the history of Java, you can search Google or you can go to the Wikipedia. So coming to the definitions, we have a main three keywords here. Java is a high-level, robust, object-oriented, and a secure programming language. So what exactly the high-level, robust, and object-oriented? This is what we are going to discuss in the first session of this video. So the first, what is a robust? So when why we call the programming language as a any programming language as a robust? The first thing it should manage is the strong memory management. In the sense, we can create a objects, we can create a many variables, we can create a many classes. So everything should be managed by a programming language. That's why any programming language which will manage all this will call that programming language as a robust. The second main reason for the Java to call that as a robust is a automatic garbage collections. So whenever the object is not needed by the programming language or any application, which will be get rid of from the applications, which will be get rid of from the applications, in the sense which will be not used in the future. So that's why it will be collected in the garbage. So that's why we'll call it as automatic garbage collections. So this is the second main reason for we call it as a Java is a robust. The third main reason for Java call it as a robust is a lack of pointers that avoids the security problems. When we see in the C programming language, there are more pointer concepts we have used. So due to the major security problems, we have not going to use the pointer concepts in the Java. So based on these three concepts, we are going to call the Java as a robust. Coming to the second keyword is high level. So what exactly the high level? So any programming language in a computer system, we have categorized into three types. One is high level, one is low level, and the third one is the mission level language. So first thing is high level. So high level program is a human readable. So anything which we can read and we can write into in a program manner, so that programs will call it as a high level. So that will be converted into a low level language. So all the low level language will call it as a assembly language. So any compilers, the compilers will convert all the programs into low level language. So that is assembly language. So this will be collected by the assemblers. So now the job of assemblers is to convert the low level language into the executable machine language. So that is in a binary format. I hope you understood the definition of the Java. Coming to the next concept, that is object oriented programming system. If we want to call any programming language as an object oriented programming language, it should satisfy the some of the conditions, or it should implement the some of the concepts in its programming language. The first thing is it should able to create the objects. So for any classes, for any methods or any methods, it should able to create the objects. The second thing, we can able to create the classes. And the next remaining things, the inheritance concept, polymorphism concept, abstraction, and encapsulation concept. All these concepts should be implemented in a programming language. Then only we can call that programming language as an object-oriented programming language. We'll see one by one what is the inheritance, what is the polymorphism, what is the abstraction, and what is encapsulation. So first we'll see how to create a classes and how to create an objects. Then we'll see the what exactly the concepts of the remaining inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. Now we'll start the object-oriented concept with the object. So now any things which we can see are in our surroundings, we'll call that as an object in a real time. For example, if we consider the classroom as a class, So even a bench acts as an object, even a person inside the classroom acts as an object, and even a marker considered as an object, so that we can able to utilize all these objects inside the class. So this is about the real-time example of the object. So how we can able to implement this concept in a Java programming language. The, for this one, we'll try to explain with a simple example of a Java programming language. So I have created one class with the class name called marker. So this is the basic syntax of any class. So for class, the access specifier is public. You can even create a private classes. So this class having the name marker. So for each and every class, it should have a main method. So that is public static void main. So inside the main method, your program need to be start executing. So now the basic concept of creating an object. So we'll try to create one simple method called the name marker. So in the marker, so this marker, so whenever you execute this marker, it will start giving the output called writing. Here the system dot out dot println will act similarly like a printf in a C programming or the cout in a C++ programming. So here the system is a class, and inside the class there is a one more class called out, and inside the class out there is a one more method called println. So whenever you give the statements, it will print the statements within string whatever you have given in the codes. So now we'll try to create an object for this marker. So here the object one is my object name. So marker is a method name, and new is a keyword to create an object. So whenever you want to create an object for any methods, you want to start with the new keyword. So this is the basic syntax to create an object. So now whenever you create an object, your marker method will be created, marker method object will be created, and it will start executing. So now when you call this object, so it will print the output writing. So that's why we call the objects are the instance of the classes. So this is how we define. So all the objects are the instance of the classes. So that's about the object. So if you know the object very well, then you can easily create a classes. So it's simply a collection of objects. We'll call it as a classes, or it's a blueprint to create an individual objects. So if you still didn't understood what exactly the class is, here is a simple example. I have created the simple class called simple with the one line statement of hello Java to print hello Java. So if you know the objects and classes very well, it will be very useful to learn the advanced Java concepts. Now we'll see the one more object oriented concept called the inheritance concept. It's a simply a process which acquires the properties of another. So we can simply say that acquiring properties of parent to child. The same concept we are trying to implement in the inheritance also. We are trying to acquire the properties of the parent to the child. So you can simply ask why we have to get the properties from the parent to child. It's the simple answer is to in order to avoid the rewriting of code, we'll try to inherit the properties of the parent to class. So here we can see the simple example. I have a class called super. So I'll consider this super class as a parent. Now instead of writing all this statement again in the child class, so I'll just get all the statements from the parent class using the keyword called extends. So you need to remember that whenever we are going to use the extend keyword, that is a that that is a simple thing. You should know that we have used the concept called inheritance. So extend keywords will tell you the concept of inheritance. So this is about the inheritance. It's a simply getting the properties of parent to child. So one more object-oriented concept, that is a polymorphism. So one object can be taken in the form of many forms. So how can one object can take into a many forms? So here you can see with the different types of examples. So now we'll deal with the polymorphism. So here again in the polymorphism there are two types, that is method overloading and method overriding. So first we'll see what is method overloading. So now I have created a method called add here. So the first add method having the two parameter int a and int b. So whenever you call this add method with two parameters, it will return the addition of two integer characters. Similarly, I have created one more add method with the same add method name with the different parameters. So whenever you call with the same method name with three parameters, it will the return the three additions of the numbers. So this type of concept will called as method overloading. So having the same method name with the different parameters, that is called method overloading. So now you can see one more example, that is method overriding. So here I have created a method called eat in the class name called animal. So this acts as a parent here because I have used the extends here. So extend means so inheriting the properties of the class animal. So now the class dog acts as a child class, so extending the properties of animals. So these properties will be, this all statement will be get into the child class now. So now when you try to execute the child class, instead of executing the instead of executing the animal the parent statements, it will execute the child statements. That is called method overriding. So overriding the statements, here we are having the same method name, that's why we are going to overriding the methods. So here, so this type of examples we'll call it as a polymorphisms. Having the same method names with different parameters called method overloading. So having the same name with the same parameter, we'll call it as a method overriding. So you can observe here the same method is taking in a different forms. So that's why we'll call it as a polymorphism. This type of concept also can be implemented in the Java. Okay, now the next concept is abstraction. So until now we have discussed about the what is inheritance, what is uh, polymorphism, everything. So this is all deal with the code. So you can ask me where is the protection for, where is the protection for the functions, or where is the protection for the methods, or where is the protection for the variables. You can simply ask that. So here comes the concept of security. So security is based on the abstraction and the encapsulation. So what is abstraction first? So in order to protect the methods or whatever you have created methods, so you need to use the abstractions. So it's a simply hiding the implementation details. So to the from the user. So you have implemented all the functions and that you need to protect from the users, then you can use the concept called abstraction. So before seeing an example for abstraction, we'll just see the how to create, what are the rules of for a what are the rules for a Java abstract class. The first one is when you're going to create a class, that should be a abstract. You need to use the keyword called abstract. Then then the abstract class, inside the abstract class you should have, you can have both abstract methods or non-abstract methods. uh, there is no restriction in the creating inside the abstract class, but you cannot create the objects for the abstract class. This is a major things in the abstraction method. So you cannot create the objects for abstractions methods or abstraction classes. Other than this, you can create a final methods, you can create a constructor, you can create a static methods, everything. There is no restrictions in the final method or constructor, static, everything. So what is final, what is constructor, what is static methods? So this will we'll see all these examples in the feature classes. So this is all about the abstraction. So this abstraction will completely will give the will hide the implementation details. So now how to hide the data, how to hide the data of the variables. So if the variable having the password, so how to hide those password from the users or from the hackers. So that's how the concept comes the encapsulation. So whatever the data wrapping into the variables that we are trying to protect, so that we are trying to protect using the access specifiers called private, and we are going to use the set variable and get variable to modify those variables. Instead of directly handling the variables, we'll use the set and get methods to modify those variables in order to protect those variables. So in order to protect the variables, we use the encapsulation, and in order to protect the functions or methods, we use the abstractions. So this is all about the object oriented concepts. Here we'll see a simple example to understand the concept of abstract. So now I have created a class called abstract class called shape. So in order to create an abstract class, the first rule is you need to use the keyword called abstract for the class, for the any class which you have created. So inside the class you can have abstract methods or non-abstract methods. Here I have used the one abstract method. So this is a simple abstract class I have created. So inside the drawing method, assume that there is a creating a drawing for rectangles, circles, triangles, everything. So there is a code, everything inside the drawings, which not known to the users, but known to the some experts or programmers. Next, I'll try to import all the shapes from this abstract class shape to my class using extents, using the property called inheritance. So for example, so I need to draw a circles. So I need to draw a circle. So the shape of the circle is already, for the code of the to draw a circle is already written in the abstract class shape. So instead of writing each and everything, I'll try to import the properties of the shape using the extends keyword. So each and everything will be get into the circle now. So this is child class of the parent class called shape. So now the circle one acts as a child class, having the parent class called shape. So this abstract class will act like a completely hidden to the users or a programmer. Simply saying hash includes standard io.h in the C program. So that statement, you know how to use that statement, and what for what purpose you are going to use standard io.h, but you don't know what exactly there inside the standard io.h. So the same concept they have implemented using the abstract class here. So each and everything will be imported, I mean will be get into the circle one now. So using circle one, yeah, and in the main method you can draw the things. So this is the main class having the main method create an object for the circle one. So having the object name called yes and yes dot draw. So now your circle will be drawn using the abstract class called shape. So this is how you can create a abstract class. This is how you can utilize the abstract classes. So in the real scenarios, these abstract classes implementation will be provided by the companies. So that users can easily implement it by creating the classes or inheriting properties. So using inheritance properties, you can easily create an objects and you can utilize those objects. So that's how the abstract plays a very important role in the Java. Now we know how to hide the abstract classes, or we know how to hide the methods, but we don't know how to exactly hide the variables. So that is the concept of the encapsulation. So the encapsulation, so we need to hide the each and every data, variable data here. So here comes the here is example. We are trying to hide the data of the name as well as the age. So you can observe here. So I'm trying to create an object for an encapsulation test. So for a string name and the age. So both the variables have made into a private access specifier. So whenever you're going to give the values for a these variables, they will be made it as a private. So obviously this variable will be hide it from the users. So if you want to modify those datas, how to modify those datas, so that's how we are going to use the get datas and set datas methods. So for example, if you want to modify this uh, james and uh, James and age 20, so you're going to set the ages. We are going to call the method set age, and you're going to call the method set name. So now the new variable will be inserted, and you can get the name by using the strings get name and get ages. And that's how your variables will be completely protected. So this is how your datas and your classes will be protected. So this is all about the concept of the object oriented. So if you have any doubts, please comment below. So I'll try to answer all those doubts. Thank you so much.